Because, well, you know what? Let's do this. Make the official start, the official thing, so that I can edit out all this stuff where everybody's waiting for me later. So here we go, Ags. We're going to be looking at the second consecutive double cut from Bonfire 2022. This one's going to be a short one, I believe, because this weekend, this double cut weekend, was the last of the firsts in the McInnes household. My youngest offspring had his first cut on this weekend. He came out on Saturday, and it's something that he loves. It's something he's interested in. He sees it in photos all the time. He comes to burn. His older siblings have gone, and so this was his turn this weekend, and that means that I was paying attention to him on Saturday. And then on Sunday, his siblings were out cutting with Liggett, as they do. So I was in dad mode for a lot of this weekend, just paying attention, staying out of their way. They're too cool for me, but especially with the youngest, this being his first time out, it was nice to watch. And he said something. Well, I'll show you where he was when he said it, but that is motivating. So here we are beforehand, and we went out to just check out load site and just walk around. He wanted to see the tractors, so of course. And so there's a little bit of work that's happening before. Well, there's always work that's happening before work happens. There has to be work happening before work. And there was a conversation at one point that he overheard, and I think we're coming up on it. We see he was watching them drive the track, and this was underexposed. I had to get this done in a hurry. I did not expect him to come running out this quick. So my exposures are off on this, but this is the truck Jerp who's heading up to Cull for, we just saw that, yellow pots and butt pots. And so we hurried out as quick as we could so that he could see them yelling for yellow pots and butt pots, and how when they yelled, all the yellow pots and butt pots come running. Head back to scout the woods. They split them up a little bit again this time. And they went back and reviewed load site and the product of the previous week's work. This is Saturday after a double cut. And so they were looking at that. And in the process, there came a time where there was, let's say that some guidance was provided, an establishing of new expectations going forward was laid out. Let's put it like that. And my son, he's 5 years old. He was listening to this and he says, what do you have to do to get to be somebody that talks like that? And it was a profound question. And so I asked him, what do you mean? He says, well, how do you get to be somebody who has, these ideas and can talk to people that way? And I told him, I said, well, you got to have integrity, and you got to have a work ethic, and people have got to count on you. And then at the end of the day, you got to have the humility to let other people, their success be their own. You can't let everybody know that you're the boss. It can't be about that. When they do a really good job, you got to go away. And so then he pauses to consider it for a little bit. And then he says, so are people just built that way? And I wasn't expecting that question. So I again had to say, what? What did you just say? And he goes, so people, when they are built, are they built like that? And then I had to think about it. And then he just quietly goes, they're built that way. So, freaking, it's fun. It's fun. Bringing kids out is fun. Just as a father, to see them get excited about something that we can both be excited about, motivated about. But sometimes it's a guilty pleasure to have the kids out because they're just seeing it without a filter. And sometimes I need to be reminded of what it looks like without a filter. Now that was fun. They're just built that way. And the fact is that he's not just talking about junior red pots. I mean, certainly that's what he was seeing at the time. But, by the end of the day, he's seeing that what he's talking about is everybody who has responsibility at bonfire. You got Chiefs from a pelt here. Again, with the 2022 trick of dropping off the stuff up at the front. Kruger with their axe box heading in the opposite direction of everybody else. Remember, we saw them, they split up. And Kruger's woods were back towards, if we look back over the past couple of weeks, they've been moving kind of back into the woods that we started at this location in 3 years ago. And there's still so much left. Now here, I'm just tagging along behind OC and their cart headed over to their woods, a shortcut. And you'll see here, you got the GoPro. So I'm still experimenting with that, trying to work out something that's actually interesting with the GoPro. Interesting and illustrative, but that's taking some practice. Video is a completely different thing, but I put a little time warp thing on the cart going down the path to their woods, and they had a long walk too, so I got some footage there. I'm still playing with that. I think I edited the footage of the axe with the GoPro on it. I think I've edited that to the point that I can use it. I think it's going to end up being a YouTube short if we use it. It's like 1 minute long. But yeah, spoiler alert, it didn't last for very long, but it's not like you need me to tell you that. But I've got time lapse of with the GoPro again, time lapse of loading a truck. And so just working through those in between the photos. And you'll note the last photos I've posted were on the website, dion-c.me, was cut 4. So I'm still going through processing cut 5 photos. And then here we got cut 6, and adding GoPro into the mix this year. That's going to be my lowest priority, but I'm getting to it as I can. I've got big ideas for down the road that I think are going to be really fun, but really challenging. And I'm talking year-long ideas. that are going to be really challenging with the GoPro, and so I'm just kind of playing with it. And if I find anything that's worth sharing, then I will. So we're back in Schumacher Woods, and again, Schumacher setting the bar. Look at that. That's so great. That's so great. You know, I try not to. I try not to interfere too much, but this was one thing, and y'all have heard me say it. Everybody who's watching this has probably heard me say it 100 times. But a low wedge is just such a better use of everybody's time. And really, once you get used to swinging on a low wedge, you realize that it's so much easier than swinging even at, waist height. And so I've mentioned a few times in the woods. And so it's so fun to see Schumacher going all the way with it. Staying safe, staying responsible. They're not doing anything stupid, but they're having fun. Now, this is going to be the one dad photo I'm going to show. I don't generally show photos of my kids. Honestly, I take photos, but I'm also pretty careful about the photos that I take, just because I find that in taking photos, it's easy to forget, which seems ironic and counterintuitive. But when you take a photo, it's like your brain just goes, you don't have to worry about this. You took a picture. And then you never go look at the picture. You forgot you even took it. And then it's a few years down the road and your camera's full and on your phone. And then you delete stuff and then you never remembered it. So with the kids, I try to focus on them. But the photos that I do take, I rarely share. But this is one This is one that I figured I'd share with you. That's the man. Yeah. He's wearing his Uncle Hutch's pot. Hutch was he was my fish buddy in Walton, and we were roommates on the corner of Church and Boyette off Northgate. And we were roommates for 3, 4, 5 years in that apartment. Closest front door to the Dixie Chicken. And he would end up being best man in my wedding. I was best man in his. And to the kids, he's Uncle Hutch. And being Walton guys, it's not like this pot really saw a whole heck of a lot of time in the woods. But the boy got to wear it, and that was fun. So I was glad to send that photo, get it to Hutch, and this is good stuff. So the boy gets in there and he starts working, and then he really wanted to cut down a tree with an axe, and I explained to him that the first thing that you got to do is clear brush. And so, you can get in there and clear brush like everybody's got to do. And you work your way to the trees. And it's a lot of brush. And you end up making these huge piles of brush. Piles that, I've said it before, some of these piles can be bigger than the entire construction of Bonfire in 2002. That first, proof of concept Unity project fire in a field. You've got piles like this all over the woods. So there's a lot of clearing brush. And I'm explaining it to him that you got to clear the brush first before you cut down trees. And he's used an axe. His sisters have axes, and he's competent to to a sort of frightening degree. And so he really wants to cut with the axe, but we get him convinced that he's got a clear brush. And so then, obviously here, I mean, that's a big old Yopon tugging on there. And that was one of many. And then they got comfortable with letting him use loppers. And I'm just letting him roll. I'm standing there making sure he doesn't get in the way, but he's listening and they're talking to him like somebody who understands. And he's soaking it all up. And they get to the point where they want to let him use loppers. And so he's using the loppers, clearing brush all around, getting into places they can't reach. And then I heard him counting 8, 9, 10. And I asked him what he was doing. And he said, bonfire points. I'm getting bonfire points, Dad. So he was, I don't know who gave him that idea. And I'm telling you, it wasn't me. I don't know if I've ever said bonfire points at home. But he got that idea. It's every Yopon was worth a bonfire point. So he was just counting up his bonfire points. And he was so sad when we had to leave Schumacher because he was up to something like 25 bonfire points in Schumacher. And he's like, Dad, I've got more bonfire points. You see all the bonfire points in the woods? But we had to keep going. He knew going in that, he's gonna get to work, but Daddy's also got to get work in too. So he hung out and did good work with Schumacher. Was so excited about the bonfire points that I asked him if he wanted to swing an axe. He brought his own axe with him, and he said no, he wanted more bonfire points. So not in Schumacher Woods at least, but here's Schumacher again getting every last inch out of the trees. And then we're back to, we moved from there over to OC. Now, we saw at the beginning there, we followed the cart in, and I had a time lapse set up on one tree. And at this point I am 0 for 4 on time lapses. Spoiler alert, the OC one did not work out. I had tied it to moved it over on the cart and pointed it at a tree. And when I came back from Schumacher Woods, they had cleared around the tree. That was great. And then they moved the cart, and then they went and cut down another tree. So, oh well. But you see, I mean, this is early in the morning, and to me, this was just something that it's cooler now than it was. But what I see when I see this is that it is now cut 6, and it is still, at best cool in the morning, and it wasn't even really cool this morning. You're hot right from the jump. On the 6th cut of the year, the 6th weekend of the year, it's still hot. And that's a function partially of starting the season early, which is a good idea. And we've talked about that before. I won't belabor that. It's a good idea. It helps get work done. It also helps with recruiting too. Before people find other things to get distracted about, you introduce them to bonfire and give them work to do and show them the reward of that. And then this becomes their thing. But it just means that, man, it is unpleasant. Are we still connected? I just got a message that we might not be. Anyway, looks like we are. It's fine. Yeah, so it's unpleasant. And we cut 6. And it's unpleasant. So all that to say, a real credit to the participants and their leaders. recruitment, involvement, providing reward with the work, because Lord knows it does not feel rewarding. It does not feel good. It is hot and miserable. And I've got photos. Let me see. Let me see if my memory's right. I told somebody this, and I hope I'm not fibbing. So we'll see if I was fibbing. We'll see if I can find this real quick. 2011, 12. 2012. Oh, hey. This was fun. This comes up every now and then. This was the Yell Leaders, whose idea it was in 2012 to let the Red Pots bring in the torches for First Yell. So, of course, I was there for that. But I believe, yeah, definitely. It was cut in 2012. And I want to say it was October, mid-October. This is what I told somebody this weekend, that it was mid-October in 2012. All right, perfect. Internet went down there for a second. Minor hiccup. So, yes, anyway, late October, frost in 2012. And it's just been hot. It's been hot, and there's been a lot of hot weekends, partially because it's starting early, but it just feels like a hotter year, too. So credit to everybody who's continuing to work. And what reminded me of that, again, was this photo. This is first thing in the morning. Now, we're still in OC Woods here. It was at this point that the boy took some swings. Just took a couple photos of that, but again, the rest are for Dad. I feel like I get my best chip shots generally with OC. I don't know. I just feel like it works out that way. I wonder why that is. But I think if you look at where the photos where the chip shot photos are coming from, it's OC. So this is the tree that I had the time lapse set up on. But again, they moved the cart. And they moved the cart. And then they cut down another tree. And so by the time I got back, the battery was almost dead. Oh, well. Oh for 4. What you gonna do? Off campus, for those that don't know, they're the hogs. Off campus hogs. The shirt game with OC is always strong. We've got a good shirt game. Now walking up towards the front again. Snuck a photo at load. I didn't actually take very many photos at load this time. I've certainly taken a lot of photos at load this year, so not many from load this time. We stopped by Lechner Woods. They had a lot of crews working next to load this weekend. Lechner's got some swingers this year as well. They've been getting a lot of work done. Obviously, I didn't nail that shot. Not great. Not great. A little fuzzy. What the hell's happening? Fuzzy. What is going on? There, finally. Good grief. That was nuts. I prefer this one. All right, and then we went to visit Leggett. And I believe it was here that the boy was first convinced. No. We OC. There was a few at OC. This one, he really laid it down at Leggett. He had a good time cutting there. And then he found some loppers again. He started working on the loppers. So we let that go until it was more useful for him to be somewhere else. But I'm always very grateful to Leggett. And I've told him this directly before, but I'm always very grateful to Leggett for making a home for my kids to enjoy being out there with good people and nice people. I'm always so grateful. Leggett's awesome. Thank you so much, Leggett. Y'all are so great. Lechner, and then this was FHK Woods. You'll recognize this as the one of the preview photos. This one here, one of the preview photos for the stream for this Cull and Good Bull. So this is FHK Woods, but they called for meat, and everybody runs over there to help them move. And again, in the background, there's load. If it's right there, I'm going to take a picture of it. But more moving logs in FHK Woods. It is so hard for me to make sure to just say move or swamp rather than the technical term, right? And to Heartwoods on the way out, getting the boy home. So like I said, part of why this is a shorter session is I was there for half a day on Saturday. And it worked out to be about half a day for Sunday as well. So everybody walking into the woods, we got there just in time for that. A little bit easier with the older kids, in that they can be independently useful. There they are. There's the one shot of the older ones that we're going to share here, but they can be competent and useful, and I can spend a little bit more time moving around. More Lechner work. brown and FHK woods fell in a tree. Sometimes, on occasion, while you do aim to get every log down with axes, sometimes it is appropriate to use a chainsaw and wedges if you're trying to get every last inch out of a tree that you don't want to lose, because it's right on the line of a first or second tier log. You'll use a chainsaw. Now again, just being in the area, I heard they were about to throw chains. I came over to day of the double with the kiddos being over there, so checking in on them more regularly than they probably wanted me to, the kids, but just want to make sure they were being helpful, useful. Of course, Leggett's ritual for felling a tree. The kids ended up actually with Neely as well, so that was fun. And I did walk up on one of them downswinging, and when they saw me coming, they immediately stopped and tried to pretend like they weren't just doing what I saw them do. So we did have a talk about downswinging. You can do it at home, but not in the woods. Oh, Dad, come on. I'm better at it than some of those kids. Visited Hart. And that was fun. Hart's fun to hang out with. I know that I've certainly joked about Hart and their incredible capacity to back wedge a tree and their just general insanity, but they are fun to hang out with. We're having fits tonight, aren't we? I set up a time lapse on Leggett as well. Leggett on Lechner as well. And as I said, I'm 0 for 4 on time lapses. So obviously it didn't work. And we got almost the whole thing, but it was on a yopon and the wind started to blow. I put the camera on a yopon tree and I thought it was pretty sturdy, but the wind started to blow, and so it was all herky-jerky the whole time. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to figure it out at some point. I know I said I wasn't going to. Here's one more. Went to check back with the Core Woods. Of course, they got head civilian back there, and I had to take this photo and send it immediately to one of the names on that pot. Link. Send it to Al. And 2 after or before Al, Bose, Sid Bose. That's my Gray Pot brother's dad. So there's a among the Gray Pots we had a legacy, which was cool. I'm gonna have Sid on, and then Jim, and maybe both of them together, on the podcast to talk about their experiences. Sid's got a really cool story to tell. If you've ever seen anybody walking around with those big books in their back pocket, Sid Bowes. And I want to, before we have the conversation, I want to get down to the bottom of when did Yell leaders start carrying around their own books. Because my understanding is, and I got to confirm this, but my understanding is that the books first started among the Red Pots, and then became a Yell Leader thing as well. But I got to confirm that fact, at least in the context of Bonfire. Sid Bowes, he'll have a cool story to tell about that. Now, I took a photo of this to just kind of like tracking. I was way up in Leggett Woods, and we saw their pixie stick on the stump thing, and then all the way back here in the core woods, clearly Leggett had some work going on back there at some point in previous efforts, because that's old pixie stick. So sort of a sign. People move around woods. The woods are reassigned every week. But they really are reaching the outer limits of the cut site, which is to be understood after 3 years. And it's just fascinating to me how much they've gotten and still how much left they have to go. This is a beautiful stretch of woods, just an amazing stretch of woods. And I'm personally really grateful for the opportunity to be there. Looks like I did get a few of one of the other kiddos swinging. Again, those are for Dad. But over here at that visit with Leggett again, and right now we're getting right up to the end here. So drop by Lechner one more time. Watching them finish a good one. And about this time, it was, right at the end of the day. The end of the day for the McInnes clan. So that'll be it here with Lechner. Like I say, an abbreviated weekend. I think we only got 700 something photos out of this weekend. And maybe 50 or 60 of those were just me being Dad, taking photos of the kids, and spent probably as much time looking at them as photographing. So, indulging myself for one weekend. So I hope you'll forgive me for the abbreviated volume of photos this week, but it was worth it and it was fun. I forgot to tell you the other thing the boys said. This is one of the coolest things. We were walking back from OC. So he had already done loppers and earned bonfire points in Schumacher, and we went to OC and we were walking somewhere else, and it was a long walk back up to the front. And the boy said, "Dad, you know what the most fun thing is?" And I said, what's that? I thought he might say bonfire or using the pliers. That's what he called the loppers, using the pliers or an axe or whatever. And he said the most fun thing is to be useful. and I'm being really useful. And that's true. Damn, is that true? The most fun thing in the world is to be useful. And every Aggie out there is useful and learning their capacity for being useful. As with so many other capacities that every bonfire motivated Aggie learns, you learn your capacity is more to lift, to work, to come out again and again and again, to hurt. All of these different capacities. You learn so much about yourself in testing them. But every Aggie out there also learns their capacity for being useful in so many different ways, whether it's somebody who's in charge that has a vision and communicates it clearly to such an extent that a 5-year-old boy will say, what do you have to do like that? Or the capacity to execute, to lead crews, to be part of a crew, to follow, all of it. Everybody's useful, and it's motivating as hell, and there's just nothing more fun. So, another outstanding weekend, Aggies. You're doing outstanding work as always. It is a pleasure to watch. And I will be looking forward to seeing you at Family Cut this coming up weekend. I believe Sunday, right? So one of my favorite weekends, Family Cut. It's the cut where in every woods, at least one or two parents will say out loud, watching their young Aggie work, where the hell was this your entire life? It's a great weekend. So looking forward to seeing y'all there. You're doing outstanding. I'm trying to keep up with you. And as y'all move fast. So I will catch up, and looking forward to it. Outstanding work again, Aggies. Gig 'em. Build the hell out of bonfire.